No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mindell. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Not satisfied with simply winning hockey games, the Winnipeg Jets set out and are now bent on dominating hockey games. That's what you saw tonight, folks. It was utter domination by an elite hockey team against one of the lesser rans in the NHL. And the Jets just absolutely said no chance whatsoever for you, Columbus. This is Winnipeg Jets time. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba, for all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms. We say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. With Dave Minuk, with Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mindell, here to discuss the Winnipeg Jets 5-0 victory over the Columbus Blue Jackets. They keep the good times rolling with their 7th straight victory, 11-0-2 in their last 13, 15-1-2 in their last 18, and oh yeah, number one atop the NHL standings.
And also, Drew, 10-1-2 since Illegal Curve broadcasted live from Farmery Brewery at 2 Donald Street. Let's not forget about that streak.
No, that's of course that's the key. That was the key catalyst. As I sit here, I did crack open one of these delicious Illegal Curve beer, courtesy of our friends at Farmery Brewing. That I'm going to enjoy that while discussing tonight's game here on the Illegal Curve post-game show with Dave, with Ezzy, with so many of you joining us in the live chat, and those of you just watching the show as well. We say nice to see everybody on this Tuesday night. You know, guys, it was a bit of a slow start to this game. Two teams that aren't accustomed to playing against one another, but it's just got to be frustrating to play against these Winnipeg Jets, because even when you have possession of the puck, the Jets are so stingy when it comes to the dirty areas of the ice, especially defensively, that Columbus just looked, in that first period, I thought they had, the puck for a decent amount of time, but they just aren't big enough, strong enough, developed enough in their NHL careers, because they have a lot of young talent, but they just couldn't penetrate the Winnipeg Jets fortress that exists in the middle of the ice.
Fort Knox.
Then it was only a matter of time until the Jets would take over this game, as they did ultimately in the 5-0 victory.
Yeah, and I tweeted this out, like the Jets went a good, I don't know, it felt like it was almost 10 minutes of gameplay without a shot on net. I think the shots were like 8-5 for Columbus in the first period, and there was that chance by Cole Sillinger that went off, I think, the post and crossbar, right, Dave? That's what you said. You were in the building.
Hellebuyck made the save, then the crossbar, then the post.
Yeah, but you can count the amount of high danger chances that Columbus had in this game probably on one hand. I think it was like 6. I guess that wouldn't be on one hand. That would be on 2 hands, boys. But I think the Blue Jackets had 6 high danger chances. And I think what was telling, boys, was when the Blue Jackets finally got a power play, because there obviously weren't a lot of power plays in this game, especially early in the game. And I'm sure we're going to get to the Neil Pionk clipping penalty, which I think, most Jets fans would agree was, I don't know, a makeup call or a game management call. Because to me, that was just a good hip check. But the point I was trying to make was,
you don't see very many clipping calls. Clipping is a football term. And even in football, you don't see that many clipping penalties. But here, you got a clipping penalty in a hockey game tonight. So that
Drew,
was
I was
unique.
a Kelvin clipper, so I should know, right? You're right. I mean, you don't see a lot of clipping penalties in hockey, just like you don't see a lot of illegal curve penalties in hockey. That's a nice little shameless plug for us, boys. But I mean, the first period was not a dominant period. I mean, I don't think you would say Columbus was necessarily better than the Jets in the first period. But I mean, they got the early goal by Brendan the Sniper Dillon, which we're going to talk about in the Betway game recap. But I mean, from the second period on, it was just all Jets. And I agree with you 100%, Drew. Like I was mentioning that first power play, like the Blue Jackets couldn't. It was it was Pionk that I think actually got the first penalty.
Yeah,
He got
tripping penalty.
tripping penalty.
Pionk
Yeah,
was
so
in the box for
the
tripping.
Blue Jackets didn't get a shot on net, I don't think, or they maybe
didn't.
had one shot on net. They couldn't even establish they couldn't even get into the zone, Dave.
Yeah.
So it was. I mean, the Jets just continue to play excellent defensively and offensively. And I mean, for all the talk of this possibly being a trap game, I mean, not a trap game because the Jets took care of business and made sure that the Blue Jackets didn't come back in this game.
But you're right. I'm glad you brought that comment up, Ezzy, because in years past, the narrative, of course, would have been, and the narrative is a lot for a lot of teams, not only a Jets thing, but the narrative would have been, that first game back at home after a long, successful road trip, that can be a very difficult game. That can be a tricky game. That can be a game where maybe you're a little flat or you're a little out of sorts. I mean, the first period for the Jets wasn't perfect, I wouldn't say, but at the same time, they still had the requisite attention to detail so that while they may have been, maybe a half a step behind on the offensive side of the game in that first period, Dave, they were so buttoned up defensively that, they were fine sort of getting into the flow of the game. And there was a comment, I want to give credit to Kevin Sawyer. I wrote down the comment. I think he said it in the second period. He said, what good teams do, what elite teams do is they find a way to build into games that, each period, each shift sort of builds upon the other. And I thought that comment of his was very apropos in tonight's game because the Jets certainly, I thought, built on their start and just gradually got better until they reached a point where it was just utter domination out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was definitely a bit of a slow start, low event first period. There's no question about that. But eventually this Jets team has just done what it continues to do, which is show that, again, that when you're the better team, you can do what you need to do to win a hockey game. And so, once they started to roll in that second period, you knew that the Jets weren't going to. I mean, when it was 2-0, I felt like this one's pretty much over. Like 1-0, I was like, okay, I could see this being like a 2-1 stinker, and that sort of thing. Like Columbus manages to stay in the game. As soon as it was 2-0, 3-0, this one was over, and it was just a function of would Connor Hellebuyck be able to pick up a shutout in front of the probably biggest celebrity that was in the house with the last name Hellebuyck, and that's Ezzy's good friend Chuck Hellebuyck, international influencer, as he was.
That was pretty flashed, funny.
As it flashed across the Jumbotron when they showed Connor Hellebuyck's dad, who's in town for his final game of this run. So I guess that means he saw the 3 on the home stand on the road trip. He saw 1 before they left, and now, so that would be 5 in total.
Why is he leaving, Dave? He should stay for the rest of the season.
I agree with you. Chuck Hellebuyck is clearly bringing the vibes, as is everybody else. So, look, this team is just a ridiculous animal, and I don't know. I mean, Drew's the one who's been running out of adjectives, boys, to describe this hockey team. But I mean, this is a team that it seemed like couldn't beat the East last year, and now they're 13. What are they? 11-0-3. 11-0-3, sorry, against the Eastern Conference. And the goals for versus goals against is like 58-27.
That's exactly.
Like, I know, Drew, that's the reason I'm bringing up the stats, so I can repeat them to the crowd.
Plus 31 goal differential, which is absurd.
So the fact of the matter is, you've got a team that right now, East, West, Central, anybody else, it doesn't matter how the Jets do. And again, even when they don't play their optimal game, they still manage to come out on the positive side of the ledger. So, I mean, again, 30 straight games now, 5 off the lead, the record, set by the modern record, I should say, set by the 14-15 Minnesota Wild. Of course, the original record is the 44 games that the Bruins did it in 1928-29.
We only need to focus on the modern record. I don't think anything from 1928-29 is really truly applicable.
Fair enough. So the fact of the matter is that this Jets team continues to just play well. Look how, I mean, again, we should mention it in case folks aren't aware. Mark Scheifele was fine. He came out and celebrated with his teammates when the final horn sounded. So, I mean, they escape anything that could have been serious with Mark Scheifele. No, you're absolutely right. In that game against the New Jersey Devils, as you're 100% right. So that's a big dodge for a Jets club that, again, they've dealt with injuries, obviously, with Kyle Connor currently injured, and you've got, Gabriel Velarde, who had his injury to start the season, but you want to dodge a bullet on that one, and you do. So that's big for them. And look, this is a Jets team, again, like I said, that, just continues to just roll along, and like 7 straight wins, 13 in and I had it confirmed by our good friend Joe Pascucci, because I wanted to make sure that my stats was right, as so it's,
and that's why you went to the Jets historian.
Jets historian Joe Pascucci. He confirmed for me that my accuracy was I was accurate. So 13 games, the point streak, which it currently is here in Winnipeg, 11-0-2 for this Jets team, matches the best one ever by a Winnipeg-based NHL franchise, except in 1984-85, that team was 10-0-3. So both teams 13. So if they can beat Chicago on Thursday, this team will have the record for points streaks. So there you go. A little Jets stats for you. We'll have some more for you.
And they do have another juggernaut coming into town on Thursday.
The Connor Bedardless,
the Bedardless Blackhawks.
Exactly.
But you can't count it before that hatches or anything along those lines. The Jets will have to just replicate what they did tonight on Thursday night. And just a second and a word about Columbus, because we've seen some relatively lousy hockey teams in the last couple of games. San Jose,
and they were one of them.
Anaheim, yes, they were one of them, but they have some talent. You look up and down that roster, and I think they're just too young, and they don't know how to. They're still boys. They have some talent, and
they really miss Zach Werenski and Patrick Laine.
Of course they do.
Werenski,
guys,
I believe, is leading them with a 1 goal and 24 assists, the reverse Cy Young, if you will. And obviously, Laine's got the clavicle, and he's out. But I mean, it's a young team, Drew. You're right, though. Lots of talent and skill, but just a young team that's still trying to find their identity, I'd say.
Oh, no question about it. But you can see the talent that they would have if it continues to develop, because they have a lot of high first-round picks. I mean, Adam Fantilli is the sky's the limit for his future. Kent Johnson, Kirill Marchenko, Cole Sillinger. These are guys that they've drafted high up in the first round.
I thought Marchenko was probably the most noticeable for. Where was Johnny Gaudreau tonight?
I assumed he was still in Calgary.
Like, did he do anything in this game?
He was on a milk box, has he?
Tell me one thing that Johnny Gaudreau did in this game.
He didn't do anything.
I honestly don't remember him even having the puck on his stick.
Yeah, it was pretty weak. It was, he's fallen off the face of the earth. In terms of his game, it's just fallen off. Now, Columbus it's just been a disastrous last couple of years. And, Pascal Vincent, who, of course, is a good friend of ours, a good friend of the show with his time with the Manitoba Moose.
Drew, he's a good friend of Dave's. Let's be honest.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. I was trying to take some of that friendship radiance.
You can.
Thank you.
We share on the show.
Pascal's a beauty. He's such a good dude.
And he's just dealing with a team that is just not ready to play at the NHL level. They don't know how to play night in, night out. They don't know how to win night in, night out at the NHL level. All the talent that they might have is just they're too young. They're not prepared.
I'm sorry, Drew. A team like Columbus, similar to, I would say, a San Jose. I mean, the goaltending is also, you can't have below average goaltending. And Elvis Merzlikins has been below average, well below average.
Yeah.
And Tarasov he's a young goaltender. He's played 6 games or something this year. So, I mean, yes, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of potential,
right?
But potential doesn't win you hockey games, right?
No.
So, I mean, I look at Columbus. I didn't think Columbus was going to be very good this year, but I would say this much, though. I mean, watching Columbus at this point, I would say that, they're a better team than Anaheim or San Jose. I mean, that's not saying much, but
they have more.
Yeah. I mean, there were times in this game where you thought that, maybe they would break through and score a goal or two on Hellebuck, but obviously he didn't want to disappoint his dad.
No, everybody wants to perform well in front of their family members. There's no question about that. But you're right. I would agree that Columbus, at least in that first period, and which is their best period this year. That's when they've had their better performances early in games. At times they showed a little bit of flash. You mentioned the Cole Sillinger post and crossbar. But then from there on, it was just straight downhill for them, and the Jets really it was men against boys. The Jets were just imposing their will, and Columbus is just not at the point where they can match the Jets' physicality by any stretch of the imagination. And the Jets were all too happy to take advantage of that, and as a result, they end up with the 5-0 victory in tonight's game. That means we have 5 goals that we need to discuss. So why don't we start that off by getting into it? We do it on each and every edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. It is the Betway game recap.
The Betway game recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Betway for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Here's a little, it's not a trick, but it's something that I've been doing, folks, and I've been doing it to some success as of late. 3-player parlay prior to every Jets game of Scheifele, Ehlers, and Vilardi to get more than 1 point, or 1 point for each of them. Over 0.5 points is the line. You parlay that together, it pays something around plus 265. More often than not, that has been able to cash, and it did again tonight. So perhaps our friends at Betway might not want me to say this, but I bet you they're okay with it. Head on over to Betway, do it again ahead of Thursday night's game. Parlay of Scheifele, Ehlers, and Vilardi over 0.5 points for each of them, and you might be able to put a little bit of money in your pocket. This is not guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination. This is not a Mindell guarantee or anything like that. It's just something that I've been availing myself of and taking a little bit and gladly running to the bank with that. Anyways, a big thanks to our friends at Betway for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. As I mentioned earlier, first game back from a road trip, you're not entirely sure how the Jets are going to start. Well, they started right. The first, two shifts of the game saw Scheifele and Lowry having some decent scoring opportunities. They weren't able to get anything past Tarasov at that point in time, but they did at the 3:12 mark of the first period as Brendan Dillon, he ties his career high with his 6th of the year assist to Ehlers and Scheifele. And the best part about this goal is where it starts. It starts in front of the Jets net with a very good stick by Gabe Vilardi that leads to the Jets going from the defensive side of things to the offensive side of things, culminating with the Dillon goal.
Yeah, and obviously, it starts in the Jet zone with just some amazing speed from Nick Ehlers, a.k.a. Fly, right? And he pushes the Blue Jackets defenseman like he does to a lot of defensemen across the NHL. And Brendan Dillon is to his left, and he, flies by Eric Goodbranson. I thought, Goodbranson really looked bad out there tonight. I know that he's not exactly Bobby Orr, but
he's not
anytime that Jake Bean, Eric Goodbranson D pairing was out there, it seemed like they were getting scored on. And yeah, I mean, you love that Brendan Dillon jumps up into the Playboys, and obviously, Goodbranson's turned around, so he sticks his stick out and tries to intercept a pass to Scheifele. Originally, I think some people might have thought that, myself included, that Scheifele got that goal, but obviously it goes off of the stick of Eric Goodbranson past Tarasov. So just that to me was all about transition, like the speed at which the Jets transitioned out of their own zone, and just nice to see Brendan Dillon score, who I think tied his career high, Dave, right, with 6 goals. So yeah, just a really good start to the game for the Jets, and you love to see Dillon get a goal.
Dave, you can just see how sort of slow the game is right now for the Jets, in that they're seeing the ice perfectly. They're surveying the situations well. I mean, again, in years past, the concept that the Jets would start a goal rush deep in their own zone with a defensive play was just not something that happened very regularly. This year, it's been a dime a dozen. And then Ehlers gets into the Blue Jacket zone, and he's just so dangerous when you give him that time and when he's got a clean zone entry, and he feeds Dylan perfectly. And Dylan, I mean, it's a fortuitous bounce, but it good things happen because you go hard towards the net in waves. The wave of Dylan, the wave of Scheifele, the wave of Ehlers.
Well, and you got to give, as he said, you got to give Dylan credit for recognizing the opportunity and jumping into the play. And so he gets, his sixth goal, as said. I mean, it's crazy to think that he seems to be, throwing back the clock a little bit, because I mean, that's 10 years ago that he had his the 6 goals for the Dallas Stars. And now 10 years later, here he is. I mean, it's contract year, so that's not such a bad thing for him. But I mean, again, great pass by Nikolai Ehlers. And the one other thing you got to mention is Mark Scheifele picks up his 400th assist on that goal. So 400 assists for number 55. That's a big milestone. He got, a nice congratulations from the crowd later on in the game. But, again, like I said, it's just the confidence with which this team is playing and the consistency with which this team is playing allows for that, allows for a guy like Brendan Dillon. Like, we tend to think as that Neil Pionk is the offensive defenseman of that pairing, but Brendan Dillon is the guy who jumps up and sees that opportunity for himself. So he goes and Neil Pionk hangs back, but it's just another.
He's actually the fighter of the pairing. He's the one that drops the gloves.
Good point. But ultimately you've got a 1-0 lead in what to that point, Drew, would have been a relatively ho-hum hockey game.
Yeah, it had been, and the first period was largely ho-hum. I mean, this was obviously the Jets. I would think this would be the Jets' best scoring chance. Columbus had their best scoring chance of the game, or one of the few real good quality scoring chances they had. That's when Sillinger hit the post at the 7:30 mark of the first period, so about 4 minutes after that.
That looked like it, by the way, it hit like 8 posts. Like
crossbar post out. Yeah.
When we were watching it live there at Canada Life, as I was like, did that go in the net?
Yeah.
And then you realize that, like, no, maybe it hit 2 posts and the crossbar went out. Turned out it was Hellebuck, crossbar, post, and out. But it looked close.
It certainly did look close, but no, close is as good as close doesn't count, and it was as close as Columbus would get in the course of tonight's game. But you're right, it was a low event first period. Shots after 20 minutes were 8-5. Again, everything to the outside from the Jets' perspective, and then they start to get the things rolling in the second period. And I would say it almost starts, or the not the tipping point, but Columbus does get that early second period power play. Neil Pionk, 45 seconds into the second period, takes that tripping penalty, and the Jets don't give Columbus any room to, never mind get any scoring chances, to set up on the power play. They can't even establish the zone in the course of those 2 minutes. No shots on goal for Columbus during that second period power play opportunity. And then the Jets begin to take over the game, in my estimation. This is when they start to really get things going, and on the offensive side of things, and they make it 2-0 at the 10:50 mark of the second period. Cole Perfetti getting his 13th of the year, his first of the game, assist to Dylan Samberg and Nate Schmidt. So you have 2 goals for the Jets. We know the Jets always want more offense from their defense. Well, they get 2 assists on this one and a goal from the defense in the first 2 goals of tonight's game. It's a great pass by Dylan Samberg. It's a nice play by Vlad Nemesnikov. It's a nice play by Nate Schmidt. The Jets just move the puck well around on this play, and then for reasons unknown, Damon Severson just abandons the front of the net, which is where Cole Perfetti is standing all alone, and it's a nice pass from Samberg to Perfetti to the back of the net, and it's 2-0 for the Winnipeg Jets, Ezzy.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on, Damon Severson was out of position, and the Blue Jackets were just running around. They just didn't look organized in their own zone. And look, I mean, Dylan Samberg deserves a lot of credit for, his offensive instincts, which, I mean, he's really not known for, but he should be known for. I mean, Dylan Samberg is an excellent defensive defenseman, but he's shown in his second full year in the NHL that he can contribute offensively as well. And he talked about it, I think, during the first intermission with Kevin Sawyer. So, yeah, I mean, that was a really nice goal by Cole Perfetti. But as you mentioned, Drew, Perfetti's left alone in front of the net. And the Blue Jackets, as I mentioned, were just running around in their own zone. And, look at when Scheifele, Velarde, and Ehlers have been playing like they've been playing, you could argue that, you know, you don't need 4 lines going, but you still want that Perfetti, Namestnikov, Iafallo line going. And I think there's going to be a debate, you know, once Kyle Connor gets closer to coming back, you know, is Connor going to go on the Scheifele line or is he going to go on the Namestnikov line? We won't get into it. That seems like more of a Saturday morning topic, Drew.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love the effort by Samberg, and Namestnikov had a really good scoring chance right before that. So I like that line tonight. And, you know, even though Scheifele, Velarde, and Ehlers were really good in this game, you know, as the game kind of progressed, they kind of got quieter and quieter, which is kind of, you know, the opposite of what you expect out of that line. And obviously the Jets got goals from other sources. But yeah, I mean, Perfetti was strong tonight. Samberg was strong tonight. And, you know, that to me was, again, like you could talk all you want about the Blue Jackets, you know, potential, but I just thought, you know, defensively they looked really sloppy. And again, when you don't have Zach Werenski, that's the same thing as the Jets not having Josh Morrissey. But these are still NHL defensemen. I think it was it Jake Bean out there with Damon Severson? I just thought that the Jets really took advantage of a slower Blue Jackets defense.
Yeah, you know, there's no question that Columbus's defense is not fleet of foot. I mean, Eric Goodbranson is the opposite of fleet of foot. Damon Severson, you know, isn't known for his, you know, skating ability, I would say. What I like on this goal, Dave, is that the Jets move the puck from, you know, it starts, you know, Vlad Namestnikov has the puck on the right right wall, and he takes it up to the point and he flips it to Schmidt, who goes sort of blue line to blue line, and then Schmidt down the left wall to Samberg, and then Samberg behind the net and out front to Perfetti. The Jets are moving the puck, you know, all around the ice surface, and that's just what causes chaos for the Blue Jackets. They can't keep track of who their responsibility is. They start chasing, but that's what puck movement does. Just like ball movement in basketball, you know, when you're moving the ball well, when you're moving the puck well, it's that much more difficult for opponents to defend. And you saw it in this example for the Jets to make it 2-0.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, Drew, we talked about Schmidt and Samberg and their defensive play this year, right? As and how they've been, you know, one of the best D pairings in terms of goals expected right now. And if you flip it around, what was the one thing that was kind of the kind of, if you want to say, knock on Nate Schmidt was he wasn't producing, and he like everyone. And I think, you know, as he mentioned at the last show, when Nate Schmidt had that sit down for 4 straight games.
Yeah.
It really seemed to light a fire under him. And look, do I think Nate Schmidt is without error? Well, most of the Jets right now are without error for the most part during this remarkable run. But it just seems like, you know, him and Samberg are a little bit, I mean, they were already doing, like I said, they were already doing a lot defensively. And now if you start adding a little bit of offense, and Schmidt looked like he was going he looked like he had that kind of Nate Schmidt confidence again. And that's significant because, again, I'm not suggesting that the Jets are not going to make any moves, but you know, you want to be able to feel like all of your pairs can contribute both defensively and offensively. We already know how good defensively the 3 units have been, and now you're adding offense from that third pairing. That's significant for this Jets club, which, like I said, is getting it from everywhere, not just Josh Morrissey, not just Neil Pionk, obviously, you know, the sniper, Brendan Dillon. And now, again, that was a really nice play by Schmidt, but also a really smart pass by Dylan Samberg, who, you know, gets up to 11 assists on the season for him. So
yeah,
a little nicer than his 10th one, which went off of his ankle and then onto Nikolai Ehlers' stick the last game.
Yeah, Dave just wanted to throw in that Schmidt played 18 and a half minutes, which is a little bit higher than he normally plays, but that's because the Jets obviously had the big lead. Yeah. Couple shots on net, an assist. Like, yeah, I think, you know, it's safe to say that Schmidt is playing the best hockey of the season. And that's saying something because that Schmidt-Samberg pair has been really good all year long, right? And so, again, like, you know, the Jets are getting this done every single night with contributions from the third D pair, the fourth line, the second line, the first line. It's rare that you have, you know, just one line contributing. And again, we sound like a broken record because it seems like we talk about this every post-game show, but it's true, right? Like, look at what happened in this game. I mean, we're going to get into the, you know, the big Josh Morrissey goal here coming up to make it 3-0. But you love to see the defense getting up into the play. At least I do. I love it, and it's not just Morrissey and Pionk. It's basically all 6 defensemen are contributing offensively right now.
That they are. We say good evening to all of you joining us. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show talking about the Winnipeg Jets 5-0 victory over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Dave Minuk's in the top right. Ezra Ginsburg is in the bottom middle. I'm your host, Drew Mandel. We do this after each and every Winnipeg Jets game, which means we'll do it again on Thursday night after the Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks. Similar time frame, 9:30, give or take a couple minutes upon the final whistle. Then Saturday morning, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, 9 a.m., getting you set for that night's Jets Flyers game. Our first confirmed guest on Saturday morning to talk about the Flyers, which of course means they'll be talking plenty about the big trade that the Flyers made. Anthony Sanfilippo, our very good friend, not a very good friend of Kevin Hayes, in case you're just missing up on that. Anthony will join us on Saturday morning at 10:30 to talk about the Flyers ahead of their visit to Winnipeg on Saturday night. 2-0 for the Jets at this point in time, as we're in the midst of the Betway game recap. And 2-0 probably would have been enough the way the Jets stifled the Blue Jackets in tonight's contest, but it wasn't enough for the Jets. They wanted more. Josh Morrissey getting his 7th of the season. And I alluded to this in my tweet on Twitter, but to me, this is our Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Big thanks to our friends at
No. Hold on.
Okay, Ezzy's got something better than that. There you go, Big
Hold
Daddy.
on.
Big Daddy's got the big
Josh
fireball.
That Josh Morrissey goal, Drew, calls for the big boy bottle.
Okay.
What is that little thing? Show your bottle there for a second, Drew.
Ezzy, it's not the size that counts, it's what you do with the bottle.
Size matters when it comes to fireball. Okay, continue, and I'm going to fire up a fireball shot.
Okay, you can take that. Morrissey getting his 7th assist to Adam Lowry. We mentioned that Jake Bean had a rough night for the Columbus Blue Jackets. In this instance, he's just sort of shooting the puck up the wall in the neutral zone. You know, it's cute. You have a little mini cup there as well. He's shooting the puck up the wall in the neutral zone. Adam Fantilli is his intended target. Adam Lowry just comes in and is too big and too strong, and he takes the puck, and he comes in as a clean zone entry into the Blue Jackets zone, and Josh Morrissey is the trailer on the play, and Lowry just tees Morrissey up, and Morrissey, with a head of steam, steps into it and absolutely rockets it into the back of the net, making it a 3-0 Winnipeg Jets lead. And this was just, it was just a bullet, Dave, off of Morrissey's stick. No chance for anyone involved.
Howitzer.
It was a howitzer. Exactly right. And it made it 3-0. It's what Jets pick off an errant pass in the neutral zone. They use their size, they use their speed. And when they have that going, they're very hard to contain.
Well, I think, Drew, the key, and it's been the key for how much of this season, is that good defense results in an offensive opportunity that results in a goal, right? And again, it's the whole, I don't want to go into Pavlov's dog and ringing bells, but talk about behavior modification for this
dog, Dave.
Well, not Pavlov, but maybe Andre Pavlik has a dog, as we can ask him. But the fact of the matter is Jets team is getting rewarded by playing good defensive structure. So they have good defensive structure in their end. Puck goes, as you said, Drew, into the neutral zone. The Jets, do some work to get it back. They don't just, get it back magically. But it's funny because it's Dylan DeMello and Josh Morrissey who are way at the back. And credit, of course, Morgan Barron for stretching out and almost tearing his groin to ensure that he stayed onside, because he had to come back and make sure that he was onside. But you're gonna that nobody's stopping that Josh Morrissey shot. But again, to me, the shot is significant. The play by Adam Lowry is heads up. The play by Morgan Barron is heads up. But again, it's a Jets team that's being rewarded for good defensive structure. And you have good defensive structure. Columbus doesn't have good defensive structure. And you see, and it was interesting because it was part of our conversation with Pascal Vincent today after morning skate. The Blue Jackets had an optional, but just talked about how they have a very young team over there and they've got to learn the things that the growing pains at this Jets club, and everybody, went through it as well. Like, I mean, everybody who's watched the Jets, as have we, for all these years, know that, this team had some warts, especially defensively. And now you're seeing what, again, that good defensive structure can result in. So yeah, and the Jets turn it around, and you're right, at this point, it's 3-0. It's over, right? Like, it's just a function of, well, when it was 2-0, you're like, I felt it was over, but 3-0, it was like, that's all she wrote. And Ezzy, I should mention, of course, even though we mentioned the international influencer, aka Chuck Hellebuck, but it's not a coincidence that at 1-0, when the game looked like it was in question, Chuck Hellebuck gets shown on the screen. That's when the Jets started to get going.
So hang on, what's more important to the Jets' success, Chuck Hellebuck or Squirtle?
First of all, it's saxophone Squirtle. Drew. Make sure you reference. Oh, we lost Ezzy. Okay. I'm not sure why.
The bottle of Fireball probably, or it's either that or an untimely computer update. It's only right. One or the other.
Well, he's back. He's back. But anyways, the point is that I can't attest to which is more important, but I will say, when it was 1-0, the Jets scored twice to make it 3-0. Saxophone Squirtle was a bit of a Johnny come lately, and he showed up when it was 3-0 for the Winnipeg Jets. So he didn't exactly.
And they made it 5-0, so you can't take it away from them.
I'm not taking it away. I think I would suggest that both are influential international influencers, both Saxophone Squirtle and Chuck Hellebuck. But I'm just saying that the crowd.
These are illegal curve style fancy stats here, folks.
Exactly. But my point is that the crowd got animated in Winnipeg. Also gave a lot of love to Connor Hellebuck when it was announced, of course, that he was the third star of the week last week because he went 3-0, and then also because he was named to the NHL All-Star game. His fourth time. He'll be going to the All-Star game.
3-0 for the Jets is 3-0 after 40 minutes. And the only question in the third period is largely how many more are the Jets going to score, and can Hellebuck keep his shutout? The answer to that was yes. That was his 34th career shutout, his second of the season. Jets make it 4-0. It's Cole Perfetti getting his 14th of the season, his second of the game. It comes 3:34 into the third period. It's an unassisted goal, but I don't know. I mean, you have to give credit to Alex Iafallo for just being so strong on the forecheck. And this was the pinnacle of the Jets men versus boys sort of shift here, in that Iafallo is hard on the forecheck and he forces a turnover, and then Perfetti forces the turnover also off of I believe it was off of Adam Fantilli as well. Fantilli had a bit of a rough game, but he's a young player who's got a lot of upside. And the Jets were just, and then Perfetti forces the turnover, and he just fires the puck top corner and makes it 4-0. And it's just a party in downtown Winnipeg at this point, Ezzy.
Yeah, and we talked about it was Jake Bean and Damon Severson. That was the D pairing out there for the Blue Jackets. And you're right, Alex Iafallo, who is a tenacious forechecker. I mean, they were all over the Blue Jackets throughout the night. And, look at Perfetti is obviously feeling it right now. He's, we talked about Nate Schmidt playing the best hockey of the season. And you got to say the same for Perfetti right now. And so, I mean, at that point, the route was on. I mean, you could say that, that goal, it really didn't have a big impact on the game. But the reality is, like, what are the Jets going to do? I mean, the alternative is you sit back and you just, hang on to a 3-goal lead. I like that the Jets are showing that killer instinct, and they're putting a fourth goal in and a fifth goal in. So, another good shift by the Nemesnikov line. And, we shouldn't be surprised at this point, but man, that Blue Jackets defense it just seemed like they were overwhelmed by the Jets forecheck tonight.
I would say by the third period, they wanted nothing to do with the rest of the game. They had just had enough. The Jets had just broken their will by the third period of tonight's game. And I thought on this goal is an example of the Jets just being harder and stronger than the Blue Jackets players. And the Blue Jackets players just didn't have the fight left in them anymore. They just didn't have that they couldn't dig any deeper. They just had their will crushed by the Winnipeg Jets, which is, by the way, folks, something that good teams are supposed to do to their weaker opponents. And the Jets did that. And, the third period, of course, was, anticlimactic. But, the Jets, especially after this goal, you go in and, yes, it doesn't ultimately really matter in the course of the game. The Jets are probably going to win, even if this goal doesn't get scored when they're up 3-0. But what it does is it just affirms for the players, this is how you play. Not that they really need this affirmation at this point. I'm pretty sure their record and their spot in the standings is all the affirmation that they need. But this is how you play, and this is how you get rewarded. Go in there, be aggressive on the forecheck, be harder than your opponent, force a turnover, you're going to get a goal. And that's what you see here from the Jets, Dave, to make it 4-0 very early in that third period.
Absolutely. And speaking of Cole Perfetti, I wanted to see the highlight a quote by our good friend Murat Atesh of The Athletic, who said, when asked if Chuck Hellebuyck is allowed to go home, I don't think so. He should stay and keep tweeting and updating his life. It's hard to let that go. So even Cole Perfetti doesn't want Chuck Hellebuyck. I don't know if he smiled at Drew, because I was doing the show with you, so I haven't seen that post-game availability quite yet.
Folks,
Perfetti doesn't like to celebrate his goals.
Folks in the chat, can you please let us know the breaking news, whether or not Cole Perfetti cracked a smile when he was talking about Chuck Hellebuyck in the post-game media availability? It'll be available on illegalcurve.com, but I'm not sure if it is yet. So please let us know if Cole Perfetti cracked a smile or not.
I'm gonna not tell you. I'm gonna tell you boys right now. I kind of like Eric's suggestion right here. I think we need to get Chuck Hellebuyck on the post-game show. Should I message the Jets, see if we can get him on the show?
If we can get Chuck Hellebuyck.
I think you know the answer to that, Dave.
Who are you and how did you get this email address? Is the number.
Text him right now. I'll be like, any chance we can add Chuck Hellebuyck? It's probably his last night with his family though, so we'll leave him alone. But it would be rather funny.
As we all know, Chuck is a great. He's a 3D printer, is what his YouTube channel is all about. I want to highlight this. It's going to be hard to see. This is a necklace that Perry William Cousin made for all of us. And I just want to say thank you to Perry. It's an Italian alabaster Inukshuk. And this is just a fabulous gift that he sent to us, and it's really it's so very welcome and so very appreciated. I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for some sort of cultural appropriation or anything, but I just wanted to highlight that Perry William Cousin, who's in the chat frequently, made these beautiful necklaces for us, and so I want to say thank you to Perry for doing that.
And now you're making me look bad, boys, because I'm not wearing mine. Mine's at home.
Well, the thing, yours is at home because your kids were fighting over it because they both wanted to wear it so badly. So I understand where you're coming from there. But the number of compliments I got from my family was I think a good example of just how great these necklaces are. So big thank you to Perry William Cousin for his craftsmanship in this instance. 4-0 for the Jets at that point in time. And you're wondering, well, they've all been 5-on-5 goals. Boy, is it boring when you only score 5-on-5. I wonder if you can get a power play goal. The answer is yes, the Jets could. It took them all of 16 seconds to get that power play goal. Emil Bemstrom is in the box for high sticking at 9:13. At 9,
email, Drew?
I said email.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What, did I say email? Maybe I did. I don't know. But whatever. You know who I'm talking about.
Just messing.
It took the Jets all of 16 seconds to get the fifth goal of the game. Gabe Vilardi, his 9th of the year, assist to Adam Lowry and Cole Perfetti. And so this is another game where the power play has succeeded. We know 5-on-5 has succeeded, and the penalty kill succeeded as well, as the Jets went 4 for 4 on the penalty kill, which means that's been doing pretty well because it went pretty well on the road trip in addition. So 5-0 Vilardi. It's Perfetti on the half wall down low to Lowry. Lowry comes out in front, feeds it across to Vilardi. Important to note that the reason why Lowry was here and not Scheifele is Scheifele had taken a puck to the ear, a slap shot from Morrissey that deflected off of, I believe it was off of Bemstrom's stick again.
Yeah, it was.
Into the ear, and there was some concern. He went down pretty hard. He left the ice, did not return for the final 13 and a half minutes of the game, but he did come back onto the ice after the final whistle, so to celebrate with his Winnipeg Jets teammates, which is a pretty good sign that Scheifele is healthy, and Velarde, we know, is healthy. His second power play goal of the year, his 9th of the season. And oh, by the way, Pierre-Luc Dubois was the Los Angeles Kings' 4th line center in tonight's game. There you go,
just as we all
5-0.
expected.
Yeah, just as we all expected. Exactly right.
Yeah, and
5-0.
you love the fact that Adam Lowry wins the faceoff. And you're right, Lowry's usually not on the first power play, but the Jets were moving the puck well there, and Gabe Velarde sure just seems to be getting better and better on that top power play unit for the Jets. So you're right, Drew. I mean, not that the Jets needed this one, but it's nice that the Jets are starting to put some of these power play goals in, right? Because we know that both the power play and the penalty kill have been, they've left a lot to be desired at times. Not lately. The power play has been good lately, but kind of just a nice bow to put on this victory.
Yes, exactly right. And it was a very nice victory on home ice for the Winnipeg Jets in front of 12,512. I know it's not a huge number. It's not a sellout, but again, folks, it's a Tuesday night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So I think this is actually a pretty decent number, because if the Jets had only been maybe a middling team to this point of the season, this number would have been lower than that. And that's just a function of too many games, too many home games, and not that great of an opponent.
And a lot of people are talking about, that they want the attendance to be higher, but I mean, all you can do is, if you want to support the team, buy tickets.
I think it'll be higher. I assume it'll be higher on Thursday night against the Blackhawks, even though
Philadelphia
Connor
for
not
sure
going to be there.
Everybody wants to watch Connor Bedard, right? So.
Yeah, Philadelphia on Saturday would not. It would not surprise me in the least if that's a sellout. Philly always a big draw here with their ties to Manitoba back in their Broad Street Bully days.
That might be Jamie Drysdale's debut as a Flyer, by the way, because he didn't play tonight.
Oh, I thought he did play tonight. If he
didn't.
Okay, well, in that case, if he didn't,
they have
play
another
tonight,
game though before then, Drew.
Yeah.
So.
I think he'll probably play that first game. I think they play Thursday night, if I'm not mistaken. But certainly Jamie Drysdale, a guy that the Jets just saw, when did they play Anaheim? They played Anaheim last Friday, whatever day it was.
Something like that.
So someone the Jets are certainly familiar with. A very interesting trade. Yeah, Friday is when they played Anaheim. An interesting trade, and like I said, we'll talk about that on Saturday morning with Anthony Sanfilippo of CrossingBroad.com. He's going to be our Flyers guest at the bottom of hour number 2. So a lot on the Jets and the Flyers on Saturday morning. And then, of course, Thursday night still the Illegal Curve post-game show following the Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks back here.
Little piece of trivia here. I'll ask it as a question.
Oh, that's usually what you do with trivia.
Yeah. Cutter Gauthier's father was a professional goalie. Who was he drafted by?
The Winnipeg Jets.
Correct.
Thank you. I think I saw the same tweet as you did. But we love you nonetheless there, Mr. Ginsburg. You know that. Jets win 5-0 tonight. That has been the Betway game recap on this Tuesday night. I see a lot of people in the chat. There's over 600 of you watching this fine program. And I saw a number of you saying, hey, when's the next live on location? When's the next Illegal Curve party? All I can say, it's not yet 100% confirmed, but I'm going to suggest to people a day that only comes around every 4 years. Keep that blocked off on your calendar.
Valentine's
it's not this
Day?
month. It's a date that comes around only once every 4 years.
Bastille Day?
No, that happens yearly, Ezzy. A date like
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo again. That's May the 5th. Every year, Cinco de Mayo comes around.
Ticona Pauly's got it.
Ticona's Pauly. There you go.
Oh, leap year. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm not very good at trivia, Drew.
Clearly, Thursday, February the 29th. Not yet confirmed, but as soon as it is, we'll let you know. An Illegal Curve party with our friends at Boston Pizza. The Jets are going to be in Dallas for a Central Division matchup against the Stars. And like I said, you only get one leap year or one leap day every 4 years. So why not celebrate it with us at Illegal Curve on Thursday, February the 29th? Tentatively right now. Stay tuned.
Although our friend Drew, our friends at Farmery inquired as to when we want to do the next live show at Farmery. So
and that's coming up. Yes.
So we'll see about that. Although I did confirm with them, not confirm, but I did tell them that you and I specifically, maybe we'll bring Ez along for the ride. would definitely be interested in doing a summer show in Clear Lake at some point. So
Yes.
that will be a lot of fun if we can go out to Farmery, maybe even as hit the farm.
I'll broadcast live from Lac du Bonnet. I'm good.
Okay, as he's too good for the wet for
No. I
the
mean,
northwestern part of Manitoba.
Dave did say Drew and I, so I guess you guys have your little Clear Lake plans. That's fine.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
It's-
that's
you're always welcome, as.
well, it's inside the federal government gates, so I'm pretty sure you're not allowed on federal
that's
government
true.
territory.
True.
Is also a part of the problem.
I prefer muddy waters.
Okay, well that's fine there, Ezzy.
Get that
Jets
joke, Drew?
win.
Clear Lake, muddy waters.
Oh, it took me a second there to get that. That's pretty clever. That's pretty good. Not bad. 5-0, the Winnipeg Jets victorious.
Drew, I'm
tonight.
drunk right now. Remember the fireball shot?
5-0, the Jets victorious over the Columbus Blue Jackets. When we come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show, more on tonight's game, some more feedback from the dressing room, update on Rasmus Kupari, more of whatever comes to our mind. It's Tuesday evening. Jets win. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. That's what we need ask of you. Stay with us. The more second half of the Illegal Curve post-game shows coming up next after these commercial messages.
Your coworkers love you because you always make them laugh. You're the life of the party with stories that have them rolling on the floor. Or maybe you're just the quiet one in the corner with the one-liners that just slay. Do you have what it takes to become Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job? Try your luck. Hit the stage at Rumors Comedy Club, and you could be walking away with $1,000 cash. Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job. Presented by Rumors. For all the details, head to rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal, starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
The game can change just like that. Accidents happen when you aren't protected. So now what? Getting to your injury quickly can make all the difference. Help prevent them from being game changers with Linden Market Dental Center. Bonding, crowns, bridges, and dental implants. State-of-the-art treatments are available to help you get back in the game. To learn more, visit lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Boston Pizza harnessed Fanalytics to test if the game is better at home or at Boston Pizza. The results are irrefutable. Catch the game at Boston Pizza, powered by Fanalytics.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. 25 minutes before the top of the hour. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you on a Tuesday night. Jets win 5-0. Reminder, Thursday night, the next edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show after the Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks. Here's what Rick Bowness had to say about
Should we start that one now?
Should we start that post-game show now?
Feels kind of.
Because you're saying because the game's already over?
That game
Yeah.
could easily be a 10-0 Jets win.
Well, I mean,
Although apparently the Oilers only beat them 2-1. What was the final score in that one tonight? It was, I think it was low.
Let me check.
I know the Oilers.
Chicago did beat Calgary on Sunday too. So.
2-1 final.
All right.
Yeah, and they beat Calgary on Sunday. So don't count your chickies before
Oh,
they
Calgary,
hatch.
Calgary, they're a juggernaut.
They're not a juggernaut going straight down the mountain
Yeah.
into a fiery crash.
Yeah.
But yes, don't count your chickies before they hatch, Mr. Manuk. You know very well. better
Joking,
than
of
doing
course.
that.
Come on, we got a Moose game and a Jets game before. I mean, we've got a Moose game and then a Jets game. Lots to enjoy.
There you go. Moose play tomorrow night. Is that right? Against
They do
that
in Belleville. Yeah.
And there's going to be a new addition to the
Number
Manitoba
10.
Moose roster. Why don't you tell the good folks, in case they missed the update earlier today or missed the article on illegalcurve.com, which shame, folks. Who's going to be playing for the
Impossible.
Manitoba Moose tomorrow night?
Number 10, Rasmus Kupari will be playing for the Manitoba Moose. He's assigned on a conditioning assignment for the Moose. So we had discussed that, I want to say a few weeks back. I said it probably makes the most sense for Rasmus Kupari to be on a conditioning assignment. Sure enough, the Jets made that. It was weird because today when we were at morning skate, Ville Heinola was skating in a regular jersey. I'm like, well, and I was asking everybody else, all the other our media friends, where anybody else see Rasmus? They didn't. So when Rick Bowness talked about him, he mentioned he did provide some updates, basically said they're just waiting for Ville Heinola and Rasmus Kupari to be cleared. Obviously, Rasmus Kupari was cleared. Ville Heinola, I would imagine, was not, because you got to think he will also be assigned, because to be clear, Rasmus Kupari played until about November 14th. It was that game against New Jersey, and then he suffered that shoulder injury, and Scott O'Neill told us it'd be about a 4 to 7 week recovery. He had about 8 weeks before he was ready to go, and of course, they haven't had a lot of time to practice. So Rasmus Kupari is going to go down to the Moose. He'll, of course, still count towards the salary cap. He's on the roster for the Jets, but he is going to be down with the Moose on a conditioning assignment. He'll get 5-6 games in, and that's maybe he could potentially get 5 or 6 games during this 2-week conditioning assignment. I expect Ville Heinola also to be assigned once he clears. And then he was talking about Kyle Connor remaining on schedule. It sounds like David Gustafson might be the Gus bus might be in the shop a little longer, because he, Rick Bowness said that it did make it sound like it was going to be relatively quickly. And so, like I said, all those updates are on illegalcurve.com. So yeah, Rasmus Kupari will be drawing in tomorrow night when they play against the Belleville Senators, their third game against Belleville.
And don't look now, boys, but the Jets are getting healthier very quickly here.
And the big one, of course, is Kyle Connor. I mean, the other,
and Ville Heinola, right?
Ville Heinola
he should be back pretty soon. I mean, we expect him to play with the Moose, right, Dave? I don't think anything's changed there. But and that's what's going to be very interesting. Sorry, Drew. Again, this is a Saturday morning topic, but I'm very excited on my fireball shots right now. And I mean,
that's the word you're using.
I think a strong argument can be made, like, that the Jets aren't going to have to be that active when you've got Kyle Connor coming back and you've got Ville Heinola coming back. Look, I still think I've said this, I'm on the 2C bandwagon, second line center. So I wouldn't expect the Jets to make 5 or 6 moves prior to the trade deadline.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Right now, the way things are going, I wouldn't think that they need to be making huge, significant moves where they're necessarily, mortgaging the future. Although I don't really like that expression, but yeah, the way things are going right now, things are going pretty swimmingly.
It reminds me, Drew, I have to renew my mortgage. It's up pretty soon.
Okay, you should probably look into that. That would be my advice to you. There is look into renewing your mortgage. Wow. Scheifele received stitches after the game. Rick Bowness did not have an exact update, but you can read between the lines. He was on the bench and he was in the locker room with the team after the game, so that's a pretty good sign. Cole Perfetti was double shifted late in tonight's game because ostensibly to try and get him a hat trick. Here's what Rick Bowness had to say about that. You don't want to run up the score because that's not what we're about. But to give a kid like Cole a chance to get a hat trick, then you've got to give him that opportunity because that will do wonders for him moving forward. So that's the Jets head coach about his decision to double shift Cole Perfetti.
That was Perfetti's first 2-goal game of his career, his young career, right? So, I mean, that's even more reason. Might as well make it a hat trick, right?
And it's only a matter of time until he gets that hat trick because he's just oozing with talent, as we all know. Rick Bowness, more on the Jets' energy levels tonight. They didn't have a ton of energy, he said, but we found a way to persevere and keep playing Winnipeg Jets hockey, but they made it hard on us. They've got some good young talent over there. Pascal's doing a great job with them. They may have made it hard on the Jets for the first 20 minutes of the game. The hard
Mhm.
being, maybe in quotes. After that, the Jets pretty much ran roughshod over them. But nice to see Rick Bowness giving a little bit of love to Pascal Vincent, who's certainly dealing with a difficult situation. He was plugged into a very difficult.
Well, he's also had the 5th most injuries, I think, in the NHL.
Hey
right?
guys,
So
remember when Mike Babcock was supposed to be the head coach of Columbus? Remember that?
No, but I mean, look, you got Patrick Laine, who's in, week 3, I think, of 6 for his clavicle injury. Jack Roslovic, who we, saw throughout the course of tonight's hockey game. He's freshly back. I think he had an ankle injury, so he's only played 6 games, I think, for Columbus in this stretch. I think he's played about 16 games, 17, 18 games, something like that in total. But he missed, I think, 4 weeks or 5 weeks. So and as he mentioned, Zach Werenski. So they've had a ton of injuries. I think the 5th most injured team in the NHL this season, which of course is always going to hamstring a team when you're dealing with that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's been a tough slog. We know Pascal, obviously we talked to him. I had a chance to catch up with him today following their morning.
You guys went for dinner last night?
We did not. No, I chose. I figured. I considered it, but I figured I'd let him.
Dinners for suckers, Drew.
You got.
Exactly.
I mean, when I say it a little bit tongue in cheek, but the truth is, among all the Winnipeg media over the last half a decade, Dave has probably spent the most time with Pascal, given his coverage of the Moose. So
no, there's no question.
There's a mutual respect there, or at least Dave respects Pascal, and Pascal begrudgingly respects Dave. I would suggest.
No, he's good. He's a good person,
he's a great guy.
and
Did you guys see Pascal and Marc-Andre Fleury? After Fleury, what was that? It was a record. I'm not sure.
Well,
Pascal's coach,
the Patrick Wall one.
Cape Breton. Yeah.
Well, and
Pretty
Fleury's
awesome.
save. I mean, the save to the lead to the tying goal, leading to the overtime winner, was incredible. That was what, Saturday night or something, or
something like
know,
that. Yeah, it was. It was Saturday.
No,
it was Saturday because the Blue Jackets have a weird. They played today. They played Saturday. They played today in Columbus. They played today in Winnipeg, and then they go back to Columbus on Saturday. I don't know who they're playing, but they play again on Saturday. So,
final word tonight before we get to the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. It's actually going to go to Pascal Vincent. This is courtesy of our buddy Darren Bombing, who was in he was in the road dressing room.
Bonfire Sports.
Bonfire Sports. He was in the road dressing room as he is, and of course Darren working for NHL.com as well. So he's always in the road dressing room after the game. Pascal Vincent said the Jets are, quote, a team that plays a playoff style. It was complicated for us to create offense. Darren asked him to expand on that, and here's what Pascal had to say. Their compete level, their structure, there's no time, there's no space. They don't play. It's not fancy the way they play. It's really, really effective. They really collapse in front of their net. Their forecheck is really good, but their tracking is really, really good. When you attack, we're a rush team with the people we have. That's what we're good at. And they took away our main asset, the ability to be a rush team. They just play a smart game. I know a lot of those players, and let's just put it this way, their hockey sense is really high offensively and defensively. They play a good team game. That is Columbus Blue Jackets head coach Pascal Vincent.
High praise.
Talking about the Winnipeg Jets. You're right. High praise. It wasn't that many years ago where Boston was talking about how easy it was to play against the Jets and how easy it was to get to the middle of the ice. It's now the complete opposite, a role reversal. It's taken a couple years, but it's certainly taking effect.
And again, like I said, that's a testament to how many of these goals started because the Jets made a nice defensive play, and that's a testament to the coaching.
Dylan one for sure. The Morrissey one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The Perfetti one for sure.
That's more often than not throughout the course of the season. That's something we can point to and say that this Jets team defensively is getting things done that we didn't anticipate that they'd be able to do. Look, they weren't like a tire fire last year, but this team has really tightened up. And like I said, sure, they got 5 goals tonight, but the more important number is the fact that they didn't allow any against, and that they're limiting their opponents. And that's part of, this 30 straight games with 3 goals or less. And I don't know what the record is with 2 goals or less, but it's got to be something in that, that run rate. What's that?
I'm glad you brought up the 2 goals or less thing, because that is almost as equally impressive. 3 goals or less, 3 is a big number, or bigger number, but to go as many games as the Jets have gone without giving up more than 2 goals.
Yes.
is a
Since when
that's
is 3 a big number, Drew?
well, it's not a big number, but
He's saying
you
it's
know,
more
I-
easily attainable.
I'm saying it's more easily attainable to get that record, but to go as many games as the Jets have gone, having given up only less than two goals or less.
Yeah.
That to me is really even standing out even greater as how impressive a streak that is.
Right, and that's why I'm saying that when you're playing stingy defensive hockey and you're limiting your opponents to that sort of thing, and again, you get that by virtue of the fact that Connor Hellebuck is playing well every night, Laurent Brossoit is playing every night, well every night, and the team as a whole, a collective unit, right? Consistency. Same thing we're seeing every night after night. And I saw Brendan Dillon had a quote. I didn't know if you were going to read it, but he just spoke about the fact that the team is buying in and how much as a defensive player you appreciate that you get that kind of effort from this collective group. So look, it's just the same thing we've been talking about throughout the course of this remarkable run, something that, we've been covering this team, boys, every single day for the last 13 years, if not longer. And it just seems like we're watching a team that we've never seen this sort of effort before, right? 17-18, there was an interesting, like Sean Reynolds was on with Jeff Merrick talking about comparing the teams. And if you say from a talent perspective, that team in 17-18 was a more talented team, but this team as a whole, and again, sure, it's early. We haven't even hit the midpoint. That happens the next game when they play the Chicago
better
Blackhawks.
team than 2018.
But this is a better team, I think. And again, we're only halfway through, but what we're seeing right now, and again, sorry, but when you've played 40 hockey games and it's going to be 41 on Thursday, you are who we think you are. And again, folks will say, well, last year they weren't and they fell off. I'm sorry, like I said, we'll be having this conversation, 41, 42 games from now, Ezzy. But for right now, this team collectively is just a significantly different group. And I don't think we've seen here in Winnipeg.
Who do you think you are, Dave?
NHL returned.
That's the great bowling quote. And to your point, Dave, I mean, don't look now, but look at the number of points there are between the Jets and the Dallas Stars now.
Yep.
It's now 7 points between the Jets and the Stars. Not like Dallas has been playing that bad hockey.
And Minnesota is 68 points behind the Jets.
That's very clever there, Mr. Ginsburg. They're only 20 points behind the Jets right now. It's a mere 20 points after they had the opportunity to cut it to, what was it?
That's a shame.
4?
4.
Yeah, 4. Amazing. It wasn't that long ago either. That was about 10 days ago. Okay, we'll wrap it with the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment on this edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show.
The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Ginsburg. Who's getting the toque from our friends at Tough Duck tonight?
We're going to give it to somebody who I haven't seen in the chat before. And again, we had some great numbers. At one point, we had over 600 people watching. We've still got well over 400 people watching. So we always appreciate everybody joining us on the Illegal Curve post-game show. I've got the comment started here. We're going to give it to Maxer AA. I just like this comment. He says, well, I shouldn't assume it was it could be, doesn't necessarily mean it's
they. We'll say they.
It was my very first NHL game since I moved to Winnipeg 2 years ago, and it was really fun to watch Columbus get destroyed. That's a pretty hard-hitting comment right there. You got to love it. 2 years in Winnipeg and his first or their first NHL game, and they get to see a big 5-0 win over Columbus. The Jets, 7 wins in a row now. 10-1-2 since Illegal Curve broadcasted from Farmery at 2 Donald, and the Jets remain in first place. So Maxer AA, send me an email, Ezra, EZRA, at illegalcurve.com, or slide into my DMs on Twitter at ICSEG with your mailing info, and Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you.
Big thank you to our friends at Tough Duck for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. They, along with so many of our sponsors, are loyal and have been with us almost from the get-go. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, they're the title sponsor of the post-game show, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, and of course, Farmery Beer. If you have a business or you know of a business that should join our elite roster of sponsors, get in touch with one of us, Drew at illegalcurve.com, Dave at illegalcurve.com, or Ezra at illegalcurve.com. We want to hear from you about who should join our roster of sponsors. Ezzy, you have something to give away in addition to the Tough Duck Toque.
Yeah, this is pretty fun. Got to give a shout out to our good friend John Waldman here. We have a couple of tickets to give away. The Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame, which is located in the Sport Manitoba building, where you guys know I work for Hockey Manitoba. And this Saturday, we talked about it earlier, we're going to have Anthony Sanfilippo on the Saturday morning show. This Saturday, January 13th, the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame is having a Filipino Heritage Night pregame party. And we have 2 tickets to give away. And this is going to be taking place at 4:00. And if you haven't been there before, the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame is on the first floor of the Sport Manitoba building, located at 145 Pacific Avenue. Proceeds benefit the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame. If you haven't been to the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame, by the way, I highly recommend it. If you're a sports fan, and especially a fan of local Manitoba sports, you got to go check it out. I know all of us have, and I obviously work there, so I can, I'm lucky that I can go there anytime. But so it's Filipino Heritage Night, and it's a pregame party. I've got the flyer here. Catering is going to be provided by Tito Boy Restaurant, Cash Bar. And so basically what it is, there's a pregame party, and then you're going to stay there and watch the game. So this is a $50 value, 2 tickets. Send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com. I'm just going to give it to the first email that I get. So again, it's this Saturday, January 13th, Filipino Heritage Night, pregame party, and then you stay there at the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame and you watch the Jets Flyers game, which is a 7:00 start. So send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com.
6 o'clock, Ezzy.
Sorry, 6:00 start.
Yeah. And more importantly, did you negotiate with both either John Waldman or the Filipino Society that the post-game show will be shown on the TV after the game concludes?
I did not negotiate that, but I will talk to John Waldman, and maybe they can put it on there.
Okay,
and
so
there's rumors abound that anybody that's attending Filipino Heritage Night at the Sport Manitoba building is also gets a tour of Ezzy's workspace.
Oh boy,
so you get
that
to
is
see
not
where
true.
you get to see where the action happens.
Fake
This
news.
is his napping spot. This is his chair. This is where he keeps his lunch in the fridge.
Well, if you
This is
really
where
want to see where I spend most of my time, it's at Colissimo, which is the restaurant also on the main floor of the Sport Manitoba building. That's where I get my coffee and my croissants.
Drew, I want to just read this comment because I think if you're a Jets fan, you probably are going to appreciate it, from Justin Danforth, courtesy of our friend Darren Bombing. The Jackets winger had this to say about the Jets. That's a team that's going for the cup, and that's a team that we're striving to be like. They don't make many mistakes on the ice. They clog the middle of the ice. They back check. They forecheck on our D. They finish hits. They block shots. That's probably one of the better teams we've played all year. Again, the Jets are reaping high praise from around the league, whether the league notices or not. Of course, there was a signing in Toronto, so nobody is paying attention. And you know what, to be honest with you, I'm sure the team, because if you notice, and if you listen to the availability we had with Rick Bowness, available on our YouTube channel or on illegalcurve.com, this team is doing a lot to dissuade. They don't want to talk about it. Rick Bowness, we haven't done anything yet. We haven't won a Stanley Cup yet. They're not talking about first in the NHL. They're not talking about streaks. Sure, they're paying attention. I'm sure the 30-game one they're paying attention to. But again, this team's focus right now, and you've got to give them credit, is on the here and now. Right now, they're focused on the Chicago Blackhawks, the next game up. So that's what their focus is. And again, starts at the top with Rick Bowness, who's maintaining that focus and making sure these guys aren't reading the tea leaves, or if you will, illegalcurve.com every single morning. But again, it's just a testament to the way other teams are seeing them. So they may not want to talk about the way they're being seen, but the other teams are seeing them in a very significant manner. And that's a good thing for this Jets club. And again, that, like I said, that to me speaks to the defensive buy-in that we've seen from this group. So again, 5-0 Winnipeg Jets. They win. They keep the records rolling, and the wagon keeps cruising downhill, and we'll have more. Jets are scheduled to, it looks like it'll be an optional practice tomorrow, so we'll have that covered it might be optional for the players. We never take the option here at illegalcurve.com. So we'll be there. We'll get whatever video and audio and keep you folks updated. It'll be on the website under the practice report. And then, of course, tomorrow the Moose get it back into action. They're looking to flip the script and get things going. Rasmus Kupari, his first action since November 14th. So we will have that covered as well. So keep it
Our
locked.
friend Al from Cyprus is back.
Yes.
Hey,
well,
what-
you know,
Good morning, Al.
if it's morning in Cyprus, that means it's bedtime for us. Al, the instant replay of the broadcast of the post-game show will be available on the YouTube channel as soon as we wrap up here. So we encourage you to check that out. The Jets did win tonight 5-0 over the Columbus Blue Jackets. A dominant effort by the hometown team. They're next in action, which means we are next in action on the post-game show on Thursday night following the Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks. Big thanks to all of you for joining us on this Tuesday night. We always appreciate the support. We always appreciate the love that you show us. Always appreciate our sponsors, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, Farmery, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, and of course, Rolly's Transfer. In case you missed any of the post-game coverage, it's available on illegalcurve.com. The podcast edition of the show will be available very shortly. It's available, the immediate replay, on our YouTube channel as well. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends, tell your family, the best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. And again, on Saturday mornings is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. For my colleagues, Dave Minuk and Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until Thursday night, right around 9:30, give or take a couple minutes, we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.